Hello, guys. Welcome to the Grace Hour, and we have some questions to start off with right off the bat. Have you ever felt that you were just like thrown off? Have you ever felt like the wind just tossed you away? Have you ever felt confused, or you felt like, you're floating and nothing's holding you down? So this is what we get to talk about today. We're talking about an anchor, anchored in truth. So we need an anchor in our lives, but mostly, this inner life of our soul, our hearts. We need an anchor, and that anchor is truth. And we get to talk about that today. My name is Jesse. This is Zane. Thank you guys for joining us. And yeah, so you know what I'm saying though? Like one day, it's great. I'm good. I have scripture pouring out of my ears, and things are just flowing well. God's speaking to me, but then the next day or a week later, kind of silence. Things are shaking, and I'm kind of confused, distorted, and a lot of things are going on, So have you ever felt like that? We are asking you guys, be honest now. Be honest, and it is okay. So, but we are talking about today, anchored in truth. What does that mean? If we think about just even the title of this, so the whole topic this week is holding fast to truth. What is being anchored? What is the meaning of being anchored in truth, and why is that so important? You think about like what an anchor does to a boat, right? And like the storms are going to come in life, and the anchor is not used until there is a storm or you need to stop. So that anchor in your life is going to be very vital or very much needed when that storm hits. Because if I don't have an anchor when the storm hits, then things are going to get a little chaotic. And so our life needs an anchor. And we can be moved, yes, in the top on the boat, but we have an anchor, and we know that thing's going to stay there and going to keep us a hold and not let the storm take us adrift. So why do we need an anchor? I guess is the first kind of segment overall we're going to talk about. Why do we need an anchor? Zane, do you have any idea why?
Because
I need an anchor right now.
The storms are raging out there.
Yes, they are.
Because life is up and down, and
Yeah.
life gets stormy sometimes.
Yeah.
Life gets stormy. The waves toss us to and fro.
Mm-hmm.
The trials, temptations, ups and downs of life. Accidents happen, mistakes are made. The things that we think are so secure are actually not so secure. We could lose a job. We could lose a house. We could lose a relationship. So storms come in life. They're up and down, and we need something to anchor us.
Yeah.
We need something to be certain when everything around us seems like it's uncertain. So we do need an anchor, just the same way a ship needs it in the ocean.
Yeah.
Just put it down, drop it down, stay secure, ride through the storm.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a boat like that, or?
Have I ever? I don't think I've actually been in a boat like that.
Never. I wonder how that
big boat, but nothing where they're like throw the anchor. Yeah.
I'm sure it's still petrifying in a way.
I guess it had been, like a speed boat, like a little speedy boat or something.
That had
just
an anchor
out on the bay. I don't know. I think those things have small anchors, right?
Yeah, small anchors, but you're not in the ocean.
Nothing like a wooden giant boat,
A wooden anchor, wooden boat.
I'm just imagining Acts 27, Paul's boat. Like nothing like that.
Yeah. Did they throw the anchor?
I think they did.
They did.
They did.
Oh no.
They threw it in.
We're not going to go there, right?
Didn't do much.
Because it was an anchor made of wood, hay, and stubble, and it just dissipated. So, but yeah, no, I mean, good point is just like in that Matthew, we have a building a firm foundation in Matthew 7:24, and Jesus says that everything is the same, right? There's a house, the storm comes, but it's all about the foundation, or we could say the anchor. Yeah. What is the foundation? And those are two different foundations that we're built upon. But so we can have many different, foundations or anchors in this life. But what is really going to keep me secure, And so the foundation is so important. That
Yeah.
anchor in your life is so important. And we are talking about in truth. It's just like, and that's a whole, maybe we go there next, but like truth. What is truth? Why do I need truth? How do I get truth? Where do I hear it from? And is that something that is readily available or offered to everybody? Can everybody receive truth? And yeah, so.
Yeah, do you want to go
thoughts.
into that Matthew 7? You mentioned that there's a house and then there's two foundations.
Yeah. Yeah, Matthew 7:24. We'll start there. Therefore, whoever hears my sayings of mine and does them, I will liken unto him a wise man which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon the house, and it fell not. I love that. And it fell not, and it was beat up. The winds were coming, and the storm came. And it took some maybe shingles off, but then saying what was that company you work for? What was the company you worked for?
RCB?
RCB came in and put the shingles right back up. No problem. Like brand new. Because it was founded upon a rock, and everyone that hears these things of mine that does them not shall be likened. So if I hear it and do it, I am I am having a firm foundation. If I hear his words and if I do them, apply them. But if I hear these sayings and do not do them, so that's interesting. But that person shall be likened unto a foolish man who built his house upon the sand, and the rains descended and the floods came, the winds blew and beat upon the house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. Yeah. So, I mean, it could be like what I'm seeing is both people are hearing, both houses are hearing of the word, right? But one is doing them and applying them. The other is just hearing them and not doing them and not, following them, we could say. And so one foundation is a rock with the one I'm hearing and doing, and the other one is sand. Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah. So it is an interesting point that the trial, the storm, is what exposes the foundation.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? The storm is what exposes the foundation. I could be on the boat. My boat is operating great, but the storm will expose if I have the anchor or not. And the same thing in Matthew 7. The storm is what exposes the foundation. What have you built your life upon? What have you believed? And what have you had in your heart this whole time? Right? Because when the paint is looking good on the house, you can't really tell if it's built on a rock or built on sand.
Yeah.
When the sun is shining, the light breeze is blowing, you got garden out front, you can't really tell if it's built on sand or not. Yeah. But when the storm comes, that's when you realize, okay, you're either having your life built on hearing the words of Christ and living by them, or maybe you hear them, but you don't live by them, or you don't hear them at all. The same thing with the ship in like a boat, do you have an anchor? One time I was on a paddle board. That's the one you stand up on, right? And
paddle board.
Paddle board. I was on a paddle board, and it was like the sun was setting, and then this boat pulls up next to me, and is like, "Do you have your life vest with you?" And I didn't have a life vest with me. So it ended up being the police.
Of course. Who else is asking that question?
And I had to pay this huge fine for not having a life vest, like a life jacket. But I mean, if you see me out there, you maybe don't know if I have it in my, like on my paddle board or not.
Yeah.
But when the time comes, like, do you have a life vest or not? It matters, Do you have it on you or not? Because if you don't, you're gonna have to pay this huge fine.
Wow. Yeah.
Or if you fall in the water, you're gonna need it. So,
wow.
But when the time comes, like, do you have the anchor in your boat? Do you have the anchor in truth, or do you have nothing?
Yeah.
To really be grounded in. But that ministers to me that. In the trial, in the storm, is when it's revealed.
Yeah.
So sometimes in our life, there's periods of great trial. And what we know is really drawn out of us. And it's gonna come to it. How do I operate in this trial? What kind of heart do I live in? What do I believe about God and what he has said? Am I going to be humble? Am I going to be submitted? Am I going to be sitting before him, listening to him, discerning the spirits, discerning my own heart, the own intents of my heart? And the storm really brings that out.
Yeah.
Am I anchored in truth or not?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. So there's one that's built on the rock, and there's one that's built on sand. And the sand just blows away in the storm. Yeah. But the house that's in the rock, it's settled, it's firm. And that's a picture of our life. It's a picture of our spiritual life, but also our thought life and who we really are, our character. It's a picture of our character and our identity. Yeah. What are we building in our character? Are we believing God? Are we holding true to his words, his teachings, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a great story to bring up to start us off.
No, that's beautiful. I mean, I'm doing a house hunting myself right now, and now I want to ask if I could stay in when there's a storm.
Yeah.
To see what's really going on under here.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's so funny. I mean, oh my gosh. But anyways, I was thinking, okay, we're talking about anchored in truth. Maybe we could talk about real quick what can we anchor in, or what else can we anchor in that's maybe not truth? So if I'm not anchored to truth, I have to be anchored into something else, in a way. Or like you, I'm on the paddle boat and I got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just floating. I'm just here. I'm just having a good time. And then, all right, here's a good time, but here comes a police officer.
Yeah.
Like, it's not such a good time anymore paddle boarding with that ticket.
No.
Don't fall and get it soaking wet. You're still going to pay it. So what can I be anchored to? And I think of maybe people could be anchored into their success. I remember a story one of our teachers brought up that like a man like worked so hard his whole life, went to school, got a good degree, got a good job, and was just like so anchored in his job and what his success or what his job had to offer him. And then, 30 years down the road, they let this guy go for a younger person for cheaper and whatnot. And we've heard stories, and that's happened so many times. But what does that person have after?
Yeah.
Their thing that they put their whole life into. They studied, they worked very hard and to get and attain, but then it can like really go in pretty much almost a moment, a moment. And so I could be anchored in my success, and that could be fleeting because I could fail many times. I could get fired. I could get let go. Changes happen. Things happen.
Yeah.
What else can people get anchored into? Other people.
Yeah.
Another person.
That's great.
Yeah. Like that's, like this person's so influential in my life. What if God has that person move, or, it ends up taking that person away, whatever it is, like, I can't be anchored in other people or other things that are very temporal, jobs, houses, people, just, fleeting, can go by in a day, and like God has control over all that. So I need something that's firm. I need something that's secure and that I can rely on, and I don't really have to question in a way. So what about you? What do you think about other things that we can anchor ourselves in?
Yeah, I was just thinking about Luke 12, verse 15. Jesus he's saying the parable of this rich fool. He said, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." That's an amazing truth right there, that your life does not consist in the abundance of your possessions. Because in verse 20, God says to this man, "Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich towards God." That's a amazing truth right there, that my life does not consist in the abundance of what I have. of my possessions. And also it doesn't consist in the people that I surround myself with. You know, I love that you brought up that point. I just think about how many young people in this world really cling to each other for security, significance, for acceptance, you know, for affirmation.
Yeah.
You know, affirmation is a big thing that we look for and we long for. But it's very amazing. God says, "Fool, this night your soul is required of you." Like when no one else is there, what do you have?
Yeah.
And the amazing thing about truth is that truth is a friend to us. Truth is near to us when we accept it, and we get it from God. You know, because Jesus says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free." That's another good question. You know, you asked, what else can we be anchored in? We can be anchored in our possessions. We could be anchored in the opinions of others. We could be anchored in our success. But another question is, can I have the truth? Is this something that I can have in my life, that I can actually obtain? You know, and Jesus says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Yeah. So it's something that he is saying that we shall have, you know, when we come to him, he'll give it to us, you know?
Yeah.
So it is something that we obtain and that we have as a friend, that we have as a covering, that we have as it frees us from ourself. It frees us from the opinions of others. Yeah. It frees us because the truth is that the acceptance I'm looking for in somebody else is actually a bondage, right? Yeah. Because now I'm in bondage to what they think or what they say about me. But when I find truth, I'm freed from that bondage because actually it only matters what God says about me and what God decides about me. Yeah. So I'm freed from being in bondage to success or failure, to friendship or being an enemy, you know, to opinions or mean words that are said. I'm free from those things because now I've found a greater reality, a truth that is from God. That's the amazing thing about truth, is that there's so much authority in it. Yeah. There's authority in truth because it is in its nature true. Yeah. You know, and the lie has nothing when the truth comes. You know, the darkness has to like dark can't exist with light. Like you shine a light on, and then the shadows have to flee. Yeah. Because there's so much authority in the light. There's so much authority in the truth.
Yeah,
you know?
I love that. You said like truth is a friend.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like that's
yeah.
I love that's a good point to like just think about truth in that way, as it is a friend, as it is a person, really. Yeah. You know, and it is Christ, as we can maybe go segue into that, like what is truth in a way. And I think, is this something that people want? You know, because it could say, you know, I want to be successful.
Yeah.
I want the nice house. These are all great things. And we want you to have them in a way, but it's just like, ultimately, maybe I don't want you to have them until you know that truth is something that's indisposable, unshakable, unbreakable, and it could actually set you free in a way, as in maybe success can bring me into bondage. You know, house can bring me into bondage. Different things of this world that they have to offer, people can bring me into bondage. But truth is actually liberating me from bondage. Yeah. It's setting me free from that, from expectations and all these things. And that's the beauty about truth. And that's why we should want it so much. We should want truth in our lives. And what was it? Pontius Pilate just saying, like, what is true? What is truth?
The age-old question.
Huge question. Yeah. What is truth? And so maybe, I mean, I have John 17:17 I'm thinking about, and sanctify, Jesus says to them in his prayer, which is so beautiful. And the word is mentioned so many times, word or scripture. Word is mostly mentioned. But in 17, it says, sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. So in simplicity, there it is. Like the word of God, my words I give you, they are truth. So sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. So we are sanctified in a way that is not there is a word for here in sanctification. It means to cleanse to as well. But there's also a sanctification, meaning that I am following or obeying God's will. And that's what Jesus said in a couple of verses before, that he said he was sanctified by God. Just for the sake of time, I'll try to find it later. But I was thinking about how if Jesus came and he was, so wanting to have people's, approval. And he got that, right? He got that when he was going down, riding on a donkey and coming in, and everybody's glorifying him and praising him and worshiping him. And he could be like, obviously I'm speaking in my, he could be like, yeah, this is it. This is what I came for, in a way, for people to obey me and trust me and worship me. This is what I want. But then the same, people are then crucifying him, a few days later, And so, but Jesus wasn't solidified or, was sanctified in truth in people, just praising his name. Mm-hmm. It was the Father that gave him this. Mm-hmm. And he was so in tune with the Father and in tune with the truth, you could say, that he was willing to obey and fully, pursue what he wanted. So, yeah.
Well, people could say you're proud that you say that you have the truth. Like, that's so prideful. Mm. Why do you think that you have the truth?
Yeah, true.
What about like what I believe and my truth? So question. You're so prideful. Like, what do you think about that? Because Jesus says, he says it very clearly. I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Yeah.
No one comes to the Father except through me. And then he says, sanctify them by your truth. Your word is truth. And he says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So Jesus, and Jesus says to Pontius Pilate, right before Pilate asks, what is truth? He says, for this purpose I was born, and for this purpose I have come into the world, to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice. Wow. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice. So you're proud. You think you have the truth. What about, all the other world religions, and what about the thousands of years of history, and you think you have the truth? What do we say to that?
Yeah. I would say, what first came to my mind is, if I had like the cure for something, I would want people to have it in a way. And, just been thinking, like, do we really have this question? Like, do we have the truth? Is this real? Like, that's a question that maybe comes up. And I thought about that, and like, we have, like, Jesus has given us this word and this truth. And so if I have to say, if I have to seem foolish in a way for saying, yes, this is the only truth in a way, like, that I can take their, insults or their judgments, but for sake of, like, for Jesus to be, I guess, preached, or Jesus to be ministered to in their lives, like, I would want them to have that. Like, I don't want to hide it, like, if someone has this treasure that you were saying before and you hid it, from the world, like, we should, if we totally believe in the truth, that we do have the truth, then we should be sharing it to everybody, because we know that there's a heaven and a hell. Like, this is, the word teaches us this. Like, we know that, like, if people do not have Christ, they are separated from him. And so that should, like, give you, I don't know, there should be some kind of the Spirit in you. If you're truly born again, that should give you this liberty where I can go and preach the gospel regardless of what man thinks, in a way, because this could actually set them free, because these other things are keeping them in bondage, really. And it's all about works, and it's all about doing this. But the gospel of Jesus is something totally different.
Yeah. Jesus says that in John 16:13, when the Spirit of truth comes, he will guide you into all truth.
Yes.
He will not speak on his own authority, but whatever he hears, he will speak. He will declare to you the things that are to come. So the Spirit of truth will guide us into all truth.
Amen.
Right? That we have received the Spirit of truth. Psalm 31, verse 5, his name is God of truth. You know, God of emet. E-M-E-T, truth in Hebrew.
Emet.
It's also translated faithfulness in some translations of the Bible. Faithfulness, true. God of truth, Spirit of truth. Christ says, I am the truth. So we have each member of the Trinity claiming that they are the God of truth, the Spirit of truth. And we live in a world of lies. Isn't it amazing how many lies are in the world today?
Yeah.
How much lying goes on. If you think about like the propaganda campaigns that took place in Germany in the 1940s, end of 1930s, 1940s, the propaganda, controlling the radio stations, controlling the narrative, controlling what people heard and what people believed. But just think about how Satan he's the father of lies, John 8:44. But he's also the prince of the power of the air in Ephesians 2. And it says he deceives the whole world in Revelation 12. So think about Satan, the father of lies, who is deceiving the whole world through whatever means he has. And technology has never been as advanced as it has as it is in our age, where the whole world can be swayed in a certain way. Right? Isn't that 1 John 5:19? The whole world lies under the sway of the wicked one. We are in such a world where Satan has propagated so many lies. If you think about our culture, Hollywood, the music we listen to, how many lies are in Disney movies now? You know, how many like little lies over the years have just been accepted and now it's like full blown. Like that's not true at all. You know, that's not true at all. But our culture is one that's like very accepting of like, you know, entertainment and that's one thing and that's fine. But we have to be able to see through the layer a little bit and have discernment, spiritual discernment, because we believe that there's a hard line when it comes to truth and lies, right? We're learning to discern the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. And like we said last week, we're learning to test the spirits. So all that to say is that we live in a world of so many lies. And when Adam and Eve were in the garden, the first question Satan asks is, did God really say? You know, did God really say? And then he starts, you know, sowing like half truth, maybe a little twisting here, a little twisting there. Next thing you know, man is separated from God because he has fully believed a lie. And a lie can be so close to the truth. You know, you think about the religion of Mormonism, how many terms they use that are the same exact terms, you know, like they say Jesus Christ, they say Lucifer, but such a different religion. It's so different. But it's these little tweaks and twists and using the same terminology. And Satan will do that as well to lie and twist the truth. But when we say that we have the truth, it's because we have Jesus, we have Christ, and he is the one that is truth. And his word is the thing that is truth. And we have to make a hard decision in our life at some point. Do we believe that every word of God is true or not? You know, do we believe that every word is true or not? And then coming back to where we started, do I believe it and then I live by it, right? And do I actually embrace the word? And here's the next part. Do I buy the truth and sell it not? Right? Proverbs 23:23, buy the truth and do not sell it. Right? Buy it and don't sell it. And how do I buy the truth?
How do I sell it?
How do I, right? We could sell it for a lot. We could sell it for a good time, right? You know, people sell the truth for a good time. People sell the truth for a one night stand. People sell the truth so that they could numb the pain or to fit in, right? So it's very easy to sell, but buying the truth, it takes a lot, right? But it doesn't take monetary things. It takes what the disciples actually experienced. It says in like when they first met Christ and he said, follow me, it says they left their nets and they followed him. That doesn't mean they left, like if my net is worth this many denarii or whatever, but it means that they left something in their heart and they made a heart decision. You buy the truth with a heart decision.
Yeah.
And that you're going to give up something because you found something more valuable. And it takes faith, right? It takes faith to make that decision that I want to buy the truth. And you made that decision when you moved to Bible college and you moved here to Baltimore to go to Bible college, and you had your life going on in Florida. You had your ambitions, your goals, your career, you're a talented guy. You could have done a lot of things in your life, but you sold those things, but it was like you decided to buy something that can't be taken from you. Yeah.
Well, I've tried, and maybe for many people, like we've tried. And our way just didn't work out, and that's what ended up happening to me. Just like I've done it my way, and there was just like bitterness, lies, and I just wasn't in a good place. And so once the truth like kind of came in, which I was raised in the church, really, I was a hearer, but not a doer. And then, went on my whole life, and then I heard it again. I think that next time that I came in 10 years later, I heard it again in a new way, in a broken way, you could say. I was just at a low point in my life, and I just kept coming and hearing the word by different preachers and listening, and it was just hitting my heart, and I had nothing. I had nothing in there, and I was like, I want that, and so I bought it, and nothing was going to take it away, in a way. And so, those are amazing points that you had there. Buy the truth and sell it not. And, what did we say? We talked about truth. What is truth? Truth is a friend. I love that point. It's not my opinion. It's not the majority. It's not my personal preference or what I feel, but it is what God says, and this is what truth is. And sometimes the truth hurts in a way. I think you were saying that too before, like saying, well, okay, my truth is it is true, but this religion over here or your opinion over here is not really. There's nothing holding that. Like we have stuff that holds it. And so these are amazing things to have and to think of. And so what is truth? And what about how do we, when things like go wrong, like how do we use this now that, okay, I'm starting to grow in truth. I recognize that the word of God is true. Now, how do I use truth in the right way? I would say, like, how do I use truth where I'm not just like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I use truth appropriately? How do I build upon, how do I build my house on this truth as the word of God was saying to us earlier? How do I build upon that? I first hear it and then I do. But what else is there? What else do I have to do? Psalm
25, verse 5, it says, lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation.
Lead me in truth,
so lead me in your truth. God leads us in truth. That's one thing. Another thing is Psalm 51:6, for you delight in truth in the inner being. So truth has to get work. It kind of has to work into my heart. Because we can know a lot in our head, but truth has to get worked into our heart, where we believe it. In Hebrews 4:2, mix with faith and believe God, right? Jeremiah 9:23, that 9:24, that he let him who glories glory in this, that he knows and understands me. There's the knowing, the knowledge, but then there's the understanding of God's heart. There's the head knowledge, but then there's the heart knowing, like the understanding, being close to God's heart. In Ephesians 4:15, it says, speak the truth in love. How do I use the truth, but I use it to speak it in love, right? And another great Bible verse Proverbs 16, verse 6, it says, by mercy and truth, iniquity is atoned for. That's amazing. By mercy and truth, iniquity is atoned for.
Yes.
By mercy and truth. There's mercy with truth. There's love with truth. There's grace with truth. Truth is perfectly joined to mercy, grace, and love. Right? So it's the God of all truth, but he's also the God of all grace, and he's the God is love.
Yeah.
You know, so when we're learning truth, we also learn his heart, and his heart leads us into his love, into his grace. And this verse in Proverbs 16, verse 6, by mercy and truth, iniquity is atoned for. And by the fear of the Lord, one turns away from evil. So we said that truth is our friend. But imagine somebody who is wicked, somebody who is evil. Is truth their friend? No. Truth is their enemy.
Yeah.
They don't want the truth. They hate it. They don't want it to come out, because men love darkness rather than light, so that their wicked deeds would not be exposed. So wicked people hate truth.
Well, yeah.
Right? Humble people love it because it's their defender. It's their king. Christ is truth. And Christ is the king. But wicked people hate it because it will expose them. But how do we atone for iniquity? How does our sin become cleansed? But it becomes cleansed through the truth, right? And also by the mercy of God. That he will tell us exactly what our sin is, but he'll also provide that healing solution, the mercy and the grace and the love. So how do I have this truth in my life? Well, it has to be paired with those characteristics, you know, the mercy, the grace, and the love. It has to be paired, or else it's maybe turns into having too much truth and not enough grace.
Yeah.
You know, in application, because they can't be separated.
Yeah.
In God's perfect nature, grace and truth can't be separated. But in application, I could be like so interested in like that the truth comes out that I forget about forgiveness, or forget about love covering someone, right? Wow. Love covers all sins, right? So they have to be intertwined, right? Amazing, isn't it?
Wow.
So also you did mention something great about like maybe you said maybe the truth isn't always popular or something along those lines. And there's a great story in 1 Kings 22 where there's a prophet versus 400 other prophets of Baal, right? So there's one prophet versus 400. We won't really get into that right now, but it's a good story to read. And that this one prophet goes up against 400. Sometimes the truth is outnumbered by lies. I think that's actually all the time, right? It's all the time that truth is outnumbered by lies. But one truth can scatter 400 lies, right?
Amen.
1,000 lies, right? One truth is all we need, right? Because there's so much power in it. There's so much authority in the truth, right? And when Jesus comes back, Revelation 19, his name is faithful and true, right? And it's just him himself. Like we'll be there, you know, coming in like the armies of heaven clothed in white, but he doesn't need us. You know, he doesn't need us, but we get to be there because he wants to include us.
Wow.
But 1 Kings 22, 400 men versus one man. And there's the truth. And he's speaking the word of the Lord. But he doesn't need anybody else in one sense because he has the truth. So that's an encouragement for us, is that if we have the truth, it doesn't matter how many lies are out there. It doesn't matter how many religions are out there, because we really believe we've found Christ. And forgive me if I'm talking too much.
No, this is beautiful.
Interject. But one thing, the thing that is the most proof of the fact that we have the truth is the resurrection of Christ. Yeah. It all hinges on that. Yeah. Like, because he's the one that is no longer in the grave. And that truth is the most powerful thing that we could cling to. Because you could talk a lot of theology and you could get mixed up in a lot of different doctrines and all these things and the arguments and the debates, you know. But at the end of the day, the resurrection of Christ is the most powerful proof that we have that he is the way, the truth, and the life, that he is who he said he is.
Yeah.
And that if he rose from the dead, he is coming back. And it will be as he said, because he's not in the grave. And that in and of itself is the most powerful proof for what we have in our Bible and for the claims that Jesus spoke. Because he spoke a lot of things, but the resurrection was the affirmation, was the proof. It was God's approval of his sacrifice. And it makes all the things that he said have authority and truth and power behind them.
Yeah. I was thinking like what, seeing Christ in like the Old Testament kind of really just spoke to my heart when I was, beginning, just seeing Christ and, prophesied and whatnot and all these things coming true and him fulfilling all these, and then the resurrection, just so it's truth. I was just like, there's no way that they could have predicted this or saw this coming. Like this had to be only by God's hand, Yes. And so we have great words, brother. You're the man. Zane, you're the man.
Hey, stop flattering me, God.
No, you're good. No, I love it, man. I've received from you a lot. You're awesome. So, but I was thinking maybe we could close here pretty soon, but we have rooted in truth, right? No, rooted, holding fast to truth, and anchored in truth. But there's 3 different words that I was thinking of. There's rooted, and we have that in Colossians. It's rooted and grounded in love, those 2 words. And rooted, and we think of roots, grounds, anchors, foundations, whatever you want to put there. This is all like under, it's not seen, it's covered. And this is kind of like the inner life of a person, like we can't really essentially see it. And we know that's how God looks at people. And as he looked up on David, like, he saw David's heart, and he looked at his heart and not his stature. But rooted is, talking about a tree, how these roots are going deep. And this is talking about like nourishment, maybe not on solid foundation, but more on nourishment, where it's spreading its roots deep. And I think that maybe how do I get rooted in truth? Is one, I'm receiving truth in the appropriate way, mixed. I love that. I love that. It was so good, the truth that it can't be separated from grace, from love. Like that was so key. That stood out to me. I need a place where I'm receiving truth, but I need the grace and love, and that's by Jesus Christ. So these roots run deep for nourishment. Grounded is then like the stability of it. Rooted and grounded. Grounded is more like you think of a foundation. There's stability in it. I could, stand on it firmly, and that's what that in that 1 Kings 22 chapter 1 verse 400. One man with stability versus 400 men with instability, and Jesus said this in that John 17 verse. It was crazy. I was like, what? He's like, I've given them your word. And then he says the world will hate them, and and he said that he just says I've given them the word, and then the world will hate them. Like there will be opposition because it is the truth, and some people are against the truth and don't want themselves to be uncovered, you know. But this word has this ground is stable and it's firm. And then the third one was the anchor, and we talked about that, and that's like steadfastness. I'm gonna go through storms, I'm gonna go through persecution, but I have something that's holding me down. And so we have nourishment, we have stability, and then we also have steadfastness, even when like opposition fails. And so surrounding yourself with words, surrounding yourself with people. We talk about this all the time, but being built up in the body, like these are different ways I can maybe help. That's how it helped me. I need to go to Baltimore. Maryland Bible College will help. Maryland Bible College. You want to get rooted in the Word, just go to Maryland Bible College, because, look, I mean, if you just go to church Sunday, are you strong enough on your own as a new believer just to go to church Sunday and then go off in the world for so long, and you think you're going to be stable or have an anchor or have... and no truth, like like no, like it take like I had to move and saturate myself, you know, in a place where I would be receiving constant truth, but with grace and love. So those are different ways. So Zane, what do you think? Last thoughts?
Yeah, no, that's great. That rooted. It has to do with nourishment, right? And then the word nourishes us.
Yeah,
like God's truth feeds us, right? Because we do need to be fed spiritually, just the same way that we need to eat physical food, right? 1 Peter 5:2, Peter says, "Feed the flock, nourish the flock," and that's why we have a pastor teacher. To nourish us with the word, to feed us with the word, nourish us. Ephesians 5, the bridegroom nourishes and cherishes his bride. And Christ nourishes and cherishes his church. He feeds us spiritually and he loves us. He cherishes us. And then you said, so rooted is one. Grounded has to do with stability. In 1 Timothy 3:15, it says that the church of God, the household of God, is the pillar and the buttress of the truth, or the ground of the truth. So a pillar holds up the roof, right? But then the ground is the foundation. I like that. And today with our listeners, we are the people of God, and we are holding up the truth in the world. We are holding up what is right. Abortion is wrong. Babies should not be getting aborted. There's only a man and a woman, and they belong in a marriage. Like the other things that are going on are not from God. They're not from God. And we're holding up the truth in love. You know, let's hold up the truth in our society, in our culture. Let's bring the gospel. Let's bring the truth of the gospel into our communities, into the world, into Detroit this summer. You know, into Richmond, Virginia this summer. Into the Scandinavian countries, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Ireland. We're bringing the gospel. We're holding up the truth in the world. And it's a place of stability, right? But it's truth in love. And then the last one, an anchor, it's steadfastness. Our anchor is in truth. And just based on the message that we heard on Sunday, I've really been thinking about Revelation 4 and the scene of the throne in heaven, and how there's a sea of glass, like crystal before the throne, you know. And in this world, we have the raging sea, the tumultuous sea, the stormy, windy sea with the waves and the billows crashing over us. But in heaven, there's a throne, and before the throne, there's a sea of glass. Perfect tranquility, perfectly still, no chaos. Everything has perfect order. Everything is under control. There's worship, there's submission, there's humility, there's love, there's holiness at the throne of God, and there's peace. You know, and there's a sea of glass, and that is the truth. There is a sea of glass in heaven, and before God's throne, all is well. And he has invited us there. He has invited us to his throne, and we can live there in this world, in our tumultuous sea, in our trials, and the ups and downs of our emotions in this life. We have a place that we can go to the throne of God, and there's a crystal sea of glass. It's tranquil, it's peaceful, it's calm, it's still. And we can have a part of that in our life because it's the truth. And there's an anchor, right? It says that in Hebrews 6:19 that our anchor, we have this hope as an anchor for our soul that goes beyond the veil into heaven, where Jesus Christ has gone as a forerunner on our behalf. So Jesus has gone before us, and that's where our anchor is in. It's behind the veil, in the throne of God, in that tranquil place of truth and peace, and knowing that the future, that he has it all in control. So be rooted, grounded, anchored in truth. Yes. I love those 3 points. Those are amazing.
You want a bonus one?
I want a bonus one. I do.
Psalm 112:7. It says, his heart is fixed, trusting in the Lord. A fixed heart. And as we close today, if you want to, how do I get a fixed heart? I have a fixed truth, meaning it's a stable truth. It's not changing. It's fixed. This is how it is. And this is the word of God. And having a fixed heart, that I'm like, what did Job say? Is it Job? That I might not sin against you.
Psalm 119.
Psalm 119, David.
Verse 9,
No,
11.
no.
Verse 11.
119 is, yeah.
I've hidden your word in my heart.
That's all
that I
about,
might not
yeah.
sin against you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was thinking of a different one.
Oh, okay.
No, but that fits perfectly.
I'm wondering now.
119. But that's to know, like, oh Lord, like your truth is over my opinions, over my emotions and my thoughts in my own heart. My own heart condemns me, Lord. But wow, what your truth says about me, and what your truth says, that I could walk in it. And I just want to walk in the love of truth, the peace of truth. The friend of truth is Jesus Christ, and sanctify me in your truth. Your word is truth, and this is a daily thing that I have to go through in my life as a believer. Check that foundation, see if that's firm.
Yeah.
See if you have that chief cornerstone in there, Jesus Christ, because without him you have no foundation without Christ. And build with this word, and it'll build, it'll grow, it'll strengthen, and storms will come, and you'll be like, wow, I didn't flip out too much. Yeah. I didn't lose my cool. Yeah. So, precious time. Thank you guys for joining us today. Yeah. Please just, continue to listen, to grow, find a church. We have a great church here in Moravia Park Drive in Baltimore, Maryland, but there's many churches around who are preaching the word in truth and in love. And, just think about your foundation today, and join us tomorrow as we continue this topic of holding fast to truth. And hold fast. And that word is, it's strong. It's strong. So God bless you guys. Thank you. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Amen.